Hidden beneath the sweeping tales of battles, kings, and fallen realms, there lies the story of an elf, whose fate changed the course of Middle-earth forever. Celebrimbor, the greatest craftsman of his time, and the one responsible for creating the Rings of Power. But who was Celebrimbor? How did he come to forge such powerful artifacts, and what role did Sauron, the Dark Lord, play in this grand deception? Today, we uncover the untold story of Celebrimbor and the Rings of Power, diving deep into the lore Tolkien meticulously crafted, and comparing it with what Amazon's The Rings of Power series has shown us so far. Let's journey through this tale of ambition, betrayal, and tragedy. To understand Celebrimbor, we must first look back at his lineage. He was the grandson of Feanor, the infamous creator of the Silmarils, 3 wondrous gems that ignited wars and wreaked havoc throughout the First Age. Like his grandfather, Celebrimbor was a master craftsman, but he was far more complex than just a smith with great skill. He lived in the realm of Eregion during the Second Age, where his expertise was unmatched. In spite of that, as in most of Tolkien's tales, ambition often leads to ruin. In the Rings of Power series, we see Celebrimbor as a revered craftsman, one seeking to create wonders that will be remembered for all eternity. This is true to Tolkien's depiction, as Eregion, under his leadership, became renowned for its craftsmanship and close ties with the dwarves of Khazad-dûm. This relationship would later become a pivotal point in both the series and Tolkien's lore, but this peace and collaboration were short-lived. As is often the case in Tolkien's world, a storm was brewing. Enter Sauron, disguised as Annatar, Lord of Gifts. In both Tolkien's books and the Rings of Power series, Sauron presents himself as a benevolent teacher, bringing gifts of knowledge and power. In Tolkien's works, Sauron, in his guise as Annatar, spends centuries among the elves, earning their trust. He offers to teach them secret knowledge, the kind of mastery over matter that even the elves have never known. And while many elves remained wary of this mysterious figure, Celebrimbor welcomed him, eager to learn. This decision, driven by curiosity and ambition, would seal his fate. Under Annatar's guidance, Celebrimbor and the other smiths of Eregion began forging the Rings of Power. According to Tolkien's texts, they first forged 16 rings, 7 for the dwarves and 9 for men. But Celebrimbor, using his own skill and insight, created 3 rings in secret: Narya, the Ring of Fire, Nenya, the Ring of Water, and Vilya, the Ring of Air. These rings were the most powerful, untainted by Sauron's malice. In the Rings of Power series, the forging of the rings has a slightly different take. The show places greater emphasis on Celebrimbor's collaboration with Annatar, Sauron, particularly focusing on the creation of the 3 rings for the elves. While the timeline and details differ slightly, the essence of Celebrimbor's ambition and desire to preserve the beauty of Middle-earth remains intact. He forges the rings not for domination, but for preservation, a key distinction from Sauron's darker intent. Before we dive deeper into the heart of this tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss future videos exploring Middle-earth's rich history. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribed. Now let's get back to the story of Celebrimbor. While Celebrimbor believed his work would preserve the world's beauty, Sauron had other plans. In secret, he forged the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom, a ring that would dominate all others. When Sauron first put on the One Ring, the elves instantly realized the truth. They felt his presence and his will stretching out to control them through the power of the rings. In Tolkien's text, Celebrimbor acts quickly. He hides the 3 elven rings, keeping them from Sauron's grasp. His trust in Annatar had been his greatest mistake, but his swift actions kept Sauron from immediately seizing total control. Sauron, filled with rage at the elves' defiance, unleashed his fury upon Eregion. He gathered his armies vast and terrible, and marched upon the realm that Celebrimbor had so carefully nurtured. His intent was clear: to seize the Rings of Power and exact revenge on those who had resisted his will. The beauty of Eregion, once a shining beacon of elven craftsmanship and knowledge, was reduced to ash and ruin. The elves fought bravely, but they were no match for the overwhelming might of Sauron's army. The city fell into chaos, and Sauron's forces surged forward, tearing down everything in their path. At the heart of this destruction stood Celebrimbor, the master craftsman. In his forge, he had hoped to preserve the beauty of Middle-earth, but now, surrounded by the ruin of his city, he realized that his creations had become tools for evil. The rings of power, which were meant to protect, had instead become weapons of enslavement. In the end, Celebrimbor was captured. The great Elven smith, who had once been the pride of Eregion, now stood at the mercy of the Dark Lord. Sauron tortured him ruthlessly, seeking the locations of the rings of power. Celebrimbor, despite unimaginable pain, held out as long as he could. Though he eventually revealed the whereabouts of the 7 Dwarven rings and the 9 rings given to men, Celebrimbor refused to disclose the secret of the 3 Elven rings. His loyalty to his people never wavered, but his bravery came at a great cost. Sauron, enraged by his defiance, took his life. The fall of Eregion marked a tragic end to Celebrimbor's life and his ambitions. He had dreamed of creating something lasting and beautiful, but it was all consumed by the darkness of Sauron's betrayal. The rings he crafted would go on to shape the very fate of Middle-earth, but at the price of his life and the destruction of his people. Though Celebrimbor's life ended in tragedy, his creations, the Rings of Power, would live on, shaping the future of Middle-earth. The 7 rings given to the dwarves did not corrupt them in the way Sauron intended, but they did lead to greed and obsession. The dwarves became consumed by their desire for wealth, hoarding gold and jewels, a curse that would eventually bring ruin to many of their kingdoms. While the dwarves remained largely resistant to Sauron's direct influence, the rings still sowed the seeds of their downfall. Their lust for treasure would drive them deeper into the earth, and in some cases to disaster, such as the awakening of Durin's Bane, the Balrog that would one day destroy Khazad-dûm. The 9 rings given to men, however, wrought a far darker fate. The men who accepted Sauron's gifts were powerful kings and warriors, ambitious and proud, but their pride became their undoing. Over time, the rings corrupted them, slowly transforming these once great rulers into the Nazgul, Sauron's most feared and deadly servants. The Nazgul, or ring wraiths, became shadows of their former selves, enslaved to the will of Sauron through the power of the One Ring. They were immortal, but not truly alive, forever bound to the Dark Lord. Their existence was one of eternal torment, and their only purpose was to serve their master in his quest to reclaim the One Ring. Through this 9, Sauron extended his influence over the realms of men, and their fall into darkness marked the growing shadow that would eventually plunge Middle-earth into war. Meanwhile, the 3 Elven rings, which had been kept hidden from Sauron, remained uncorrupted by his evil. These rings, crafted with the purest intentions, became symbols of hope and preservation in the dark times to come. They would protect the last strongholds of the Free Peoples, Rivendell, Lothlorien, and the Grey Havens. The power of these 3 rings would later play a crucial role in the final defeat of Sauron during the War of the Ring, ensuring that Celebrimbor's legacy would live on long after his death. Celebrimbor's story is one of both ambition and tragedy. He sought to preserve the beauty of Middle-earth through his craft, but his greatest creation became a weapon of domination. His trust in Anatar, Sauron in disguise, led not only to his downfall, but to the near destruction of everything he held dear. Through the Rings of Power, his influence lived on, for good and for ill. The rings he forged would become central to the fate of Middle-earth, shaping the course of history for centuries to come. In Tolkien's tale, Celebrimbor's creation, though corrupted, ultimately contributed to the final defeat of Sauron, a testament to the complexity of creation, where great power can both uplift and destroy. In the end, Celebrimbor's story is a touching reminder of the duality of creation. His quest for beauty and preservation gave rise to artifacts of great power, but also ones that could be wielded for great evil. The Rings of Power embody the complex nature of such gifts, how even the noblest intentions can be corrupted, and how the struggle between light and dark is an enduring theme in the saga of Middle-earth. Despite his tragic end, Celebrimbor's legacy endures. The Rings of Power played a crucial role in the ultimate downfall of Sauron and the restoration of balance to Middle-earth. His tale is a testament to the enduring impact of our actions, the intricate balance of power, and the hope that even in darkness the light of courage and resilience can shine through. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the untold story of Celebrimbor and the Rings of Power. If you enjoyed this exploration of Middle-earth's rich lore, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into the world of Tolkien. And if you're an artist or creator interested in collaborating on future videos, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to feature your work and give you a shout out in upcoming content. Until next time, catch you in the next upcoming video.